loosen that red thing under you.
This one?
Yep, and point it right at your mouth. I don't know why I was trying to do it.
Like that?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Quit watching me, dude.
This shouldn't be stressful. All right,
This is
fellas.
going well.
This is what?
This is going well.
It's the Real Host Podcast.
Episode 5.
Just like that. Episode 5?
Really?
5.
5, 4 or 5. One of those.
I got some watching to do.
Yeah, offended.
You don't have to.
Offended. So today we have Randy Watts with us. I know everybody thought I was going to say Tommy. What's Tommy's last name?
Magrath.
Whoa.
Magrath.
Is it McGrath?
Yeah.
McGrath.
Magrath.
I was going to say, I thought it was McGrath, but it's okay. Today we got Randy Watts with us. Randy's been out. We're going to talk about TAQ-STRAP, but you've been like world traveling.
Yeah.
You were in, was it Germany?
Yeah. We went to Germany for Enforce TAQ.
Uh-huh. What is Enforce TAQ? Talk a little bit about the trade shows and all the things you go to.
It's like the I'll say, so when we're trying to get our products out there, we like to go to the trade shows as a like the product designer guy.
Yeah.
Most of it is to establish relationships and talk to other manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So we're talking to like Saber OC or some gun manufacturers, just seeing if there's ways to improve what they're offering, because a lot of those companies will have their holsters made by someone else, and so that creates space for us to, can we injection mold this, can we make it better, more suitable for the job, right? And so that's a lot of what we do. And then most of it is just connecting with other people in the space who are kind of doing similar stuff. So really good folks out there. Archon Firearms, those guys, they're coming back through for a tour, so they're curious too. They want to see what we're doing. Genesis Arms, those guys are awesome.
Local dudes.
Patriot Rich, so cool. Cody and them, so cool. So and a lot of these dudes are other vets and law enforcement, kind of getting out of the industry and trying to make things happen in this business manufacturing space. So it's really cool for me. Mapbox, another one. Those dudes are awesome. It's really cool to connect with guys of the same generation who are out here just trying to make product for those who are still doing it, right?
Nice. And then, so after Germany, so you came back for a while, and then...
So I went straight from Germany, and like one of the benefits is I like to take my wife. So after the show, we went to Prague, and we just kind of went and looked around Prague, which was so cool.
I heard Prague is like one of the most beautiful places like in the world.
It is John Wick, like all the way. Just it's so
what
cool.
You expected?
Yeah, exactly. It's so cool. And then where else? And then I went straight from there to DC. We're trying to get the TAQ-STRAP. We applied for like PEO soldier enhancement program. A lot of people, we get a lot of comments on like, oh, it's not TCCC approved. Well, that is a process, right? And that takes a lot of meetings with voices in with the Army, with the people who make decisions to put stuff into testing to get those certifications. Yeah. So we've put it through all of the same testing and passes with flying colors. We just have to get the Army to put it through their testing, or Fort Detrick and DLA, all these folks to put it through their testing before we can get those certifications. So that's a lot of what I do, is try to work on those credentials and get this thing, TCCC recommended, get it into testing, get it approved.
Nice. So what we want to do today is kind of break down the story of TAQ-STRAP as a product. A lot of times, and also just real quick, because I saw them randomly. Do you remember the young man's name? George. Shout out to George. Sent in some aliens.
It's Randy and Tommy.
I like it. ADHD.
Can you tell the difference of who's who there? I know that's a struggle for you.
I'm going to say, never mind. So we're talking about TAQ-STRAP today and kind of like the creation of and all of that stuff. Before, like the first time you came on the podcast, you gave us a bit of your background. But just real quick for the folks who don't know, you were like, 10 years military, 10 years law enforcement. And then out of that, the TAQ-STRAP was born. But at what point in that process of law enforcement did you start even thinking about TAQ-STRAP?
Well, all of us in those industries, military, law enforcement, we go through, first aid courses, TCCC courses,
Yeah.
pretty regularly. And then just with your team, you'll practice, tourniquet application, those things. I've always been kind of, I say, medical leaning in my own interest. And so for me, I taught it for a little while in the Navy. And then when I first got on with my team, with my SWAT team, I was the medic, and then eventually moved over to the sniper side. But for me, I've always been disappointed in my own abilities to put just a normal traditional like cat tourniquet on. Not like in a sterile environment, but if you have any kind of variable, right? Like if it's contaminants, if you have to pay attention to whatever else is going on, if you're in a compromising position, I was always just kind of disappointed in like, man, if this were real life, I'd be hurting right now. And then seeing other officers put tourniquets on, or having to go behind them and fix their work, there's always been a concern of mine. And it's not dogging on traditional tourniquets at all. When properly used, they're amazing. It's for that in the moment, when variables are there, when contaminants are present, when you're going 100 miles per hour, can you do this very simple task? And more often than not, and I challenge anyone who's very confident in their abilities, is, do it while firing at a target, right? Do it while seated in a car, and keep your shit where you normally keep it. And then try to do it knowing that if you crash or you roll a vehicle, all your medical plans are in the back seat, right? So that was kind of I'd say that planted a seed in my head of like, okay, how can we do this better? And then I just call it like dumb luck.
Where was that in your process? Was that like 5 years in, 3 years in?
Yeah, I mean, at that point I'd done, my 10 years in the Navy, a couple of years working for the government, and then
that's right.
Yeah, and then probably I don't know, 6-7 years into my law enforcement career.
Got you.
Before I just like looked down at, and there's a strap, hold my stabilization strap on my holster, right? It's already high and tight. And I think, I'll tell this story different every time, but like, I think it was just a combination of kind of recognizing that and then starting to experiment with it. Like, can I freaking adjust this strap tight enough to where it actually starts cutting off circulation? And then, okay, if I'm going to put a tourniquet in this, can I use like in a cat tourniquet, there's that nylon or whatever it is inside. It's like a ribbon almost. And can I recreate that? But like the first couple prototypes, the ribbon's exposed, so it's going to get damaged by the elements. And so that leads to, all right, it has to be protected somehow, or it has to be made of a tougher material. So anyway, I did the everyone who has an idea, right? You don't know where to start. I had no idea where. So I was working graveyard patrol at the time, so I didn't really know where to start. And I was listening to a podcast. It was Adam Diamante. He's a patent attorney, and at the end of the podcast, he put his number out there. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can just call this dude and ask. So I did. I called him, and it went straight to him. And that was kind of how our relationship started.
Shout out Adam. Come on the podcast if you want to talk about gun
just
holsters.
the sweetest man in the world. Just absolutely mentored me kind of through it. Really helped me. I think he really respected the mission of, trying to save lives, right? Is our goal. And so he took it on board. He dealt with my ridiculousness of, anyone creating something new, we're all scared, right? Like, I don't want to tell anyone my idea, or else it's just going to get stolen. When it's kind of a scarcity mindset, when in reality, and I tell this to people now who come up with new ideas, is like, man, everyone knows that to make money, like we all know how to make money in real estate, right? How many people actually do it? The same thing with product. Like, we all have good ideas. How many people actually jump off the cliff and,
create Velcro?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's surprising. Like it's very intimidating. It costs money. It's a lot to commit to. And so, but it came in small chunks, and you get a denial, you pay another chunk of money, you get a denial. So it's probably over 4 years of prototyping, applying for the patent, getting denied, and just being persistent with it. And then thank God for me, finally got the patent issued.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, do you have something?
Nope.
When it comes to like break this product down, because there are some people out there who look at this and say like, what is the like actual difference between this and a cat tourniquet, and like where are their places? Like,
yeah. So this is something that like we see a lot in the comments. Like if it's not a cat, I'm not wearing it, right? Like we do not. This is a new technology. It doesn't exist. We don't replace a traditional tourniquet like a cat tourniquet. We complement it. We work with it. So when you are in that gunfight and you cannot take your eyes off the target, just imagine yourself, police officer, you're playing peekaboo with a bad guy in a gunfight, right? I do not want to look down for a second, even if I get hit, right? And so that's the problem statement. What's the solution? So I can't, again, been doing this a long time. I cannot put a traditional tourniquet on while engaged in a gunfight. Impossible for me. What I can do with a true hasty tourniquet, and that's the difference between a traditional tourniquet and the TAQ-STRAP. We are a true hasty tourniquet. It's already high and tight. It's already in place. It's a piece of my gear. I can reach down with one hand and apply my tourniquet in about 5 seconds while putting rounds on target if I need to. And again, I challenge anyone, try to put a traditional tourniquet on while plinking still. I can't do it. I'd love to see someone who can. Try to do it with the TAQ-STRAP. Novice can do it, right? Yeah. So that to me is the difference. We are a true hasty tourniquet, high and tight tourniquet. And if you follow the TAQ stuff, the doctrine out there, in December they came out with transitioning your tourniquet, right? So from a high and tight hasty tourniquet to a properly placed tourniquet. It's called deliberate tourniquet. And so think of the TAQ-STRAP as your hasty tourniquet. Think of your cat tourniquets, your RMTs as deliberate tourniquets. That's when you have time to cut your clothes away, look at the wound, place it 2 to 3 inches above the wound. So we don't replace a cat tourniquet. We get you to a place where you can survive long enough to put a traditional tourniquet on to get to that tourniquet transition. And so that is the difference. We are not in competition with any traditional tourniquet. We actually carry them on our website.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, it's pretty obvious that we're not trying to take that place when we're actively partnering with and selling the traditional cat tourniquet.
Yeah, they're friends of ours. Like we NAR, they're awesome, right? Saved countless lives. We're not in competition with them. We're just a different technology. We are, and you'll hear the other thing of other companies have tried to do in place wearable tourniquets before. What they're referring to is the tourniquets that were sewn into pants. And I'll say, even that, like the one of the issues that I would identify as a teammate medic is, I don't know if you're wearing that tourniquet, especially if I'm not familiar with those pants, right? Because you have to rip a pocket away to access the windlass. I wouldn't know to do that. And even so, even if I knew, would I be able to do that while still plinking still? I don't think so. And so we're entirely different. We're an external piece of gear. That's why we're made of such heavy-duty materials, is because we have to stand up to the elements. So we're an external visible tourniquet that you can reach down and apply in about 5 seconds. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What I was going to say, you brought up materials real quick. Can you speak to that real quick?
Yeah.
Break down the materials and why we went with those specific materials.
Yeah. So, we're an American-made company. So what that means is that we have to source our products from other American-made manufacturers. So you talk about the nylon strapping that we use, right? The load-bearing strap, if you will. That's an American-made, Berry-compliant product. And it's made to a certain standard to withstand the elements. So this company's already selling this in a bunch of military equipment. So that's been battle tested, proved. So we used that material. This ratcheting system, we went with M2 Inc. because they're in the RevMedX tourniquet, right? They're the They're a TAQ approved tourniquet. We wanted to use something that was battle proven, trusted by military and law enforcement, and we pay for that, right? We go with the best materials in our raw materials so that we know we have a very well-rounded product. The buckles, we've had questions on, I'm not trusting a plastic buckle around my with a tourniquet, and like people have to realize that even a traditional tourniquet has plastic components in it. This thing we put on a pull test on our Instagram pulls to 680 pounds. The average circumferential pressure with a tourniquet is around 60 to 90 pounds if it's applied very tightly. So we far surpass that. The ladder, the ratcheting ladder inside, again, an M2 product. We went with that because, again, it's been tested. We have white papers. We have pull strengths on everything. We have cycle testing. We do all of it. So the materials that it's made of are meant to last a very long time. But it is a piece of gear, just like every other piece of gear. You want to check it out. You want to make sure that it's functional. You want to make sure that things don't get nicked. The way it's built into say our drop leg here is that plastic is internal, right? So you've got the drop leg platform, a piece of nylon protecting those ladders from getting nicked. So it is very rare that would get hurt, but it is a piece of gear, and any good operator knows you need to pre-flight your gear before you go out with it.
Nice. So you were breaking down the kind of the differences, but then it seems like there are so many different applications. I don't know if it's the right word, but like applications for the TAQ strap. And last time you were on, you kind of talked about that, like kind of one of those first cases that we've gotten back, where it's like saving lives. But even just talk about like the different applications, if you will.
Yeah. So when it's set up in this dynamic drop leg or any drop leg, you can run it through Safariland. You can run it through any drop leg platform. It's a 1.5 inch strap. And so it will replace any 1.5 inch strap because the inner constricting band does not weave through the drop leg slots. That load bearing band does. So when you go to constrict, it's that inner like solid plastic that is creating the pressure to occlude your blood flow. So that being said, if I wanted to run this, so when you buy the independent version, right, you can take that apart and you can run it through anything, a gas mask bag, an IFAC kit. If you don't want to use our drop leg, you run it through a Safari, a Blackhawk, Blade Tech, any of those things. You can run it right through your mid-ride belt slides, your True North. You can run it through anything that accepts a traditional 1.5 inch strap. So you see a lot of guys moving to stabilization straps, which I'm a big fan of. This will serve as that. And I say it a lot, you're already wearing a strap, right? You're already wearing that. Make it something that could potentially save your life, right?
Other applications is other than kind of just like that. Draw.
Yeah, so we sell it with a belt loop, and this belt loop, so you would just keep this on your duty belt, right? So let's say you carry one on your weapon side and that one just stays there, right? So like I said, you're already wearing a strap, just keep it there. If you didn't want to wear one on both sides, or some of the team guys in the Navy that we work with, they didn't want to carry a sidearm at all, so they just wear the two belt loops on their battle belt. And then on insertion, or on like for SWAT team, like final approach or secondary approach, something like that, you'd grab this out of your helmet bag and then you just clip it right up to your belt. This thing will have already been sized to your leg, right? And that's important when you first get these things. Make sure you size it to your leg. It's a cut to fit strap. So make sure it's sized to your leg. That way when you start cranking on it, it occludes faster. We put a big 11-inch ladder in there. And so it will, like 11-inch ladder in there. So it has plenty of ladder to occlude, even if you're wearing it a little loose, but we recommend wearing it as tight as what is comfortable, So yeah, you can put it through anything. You can wear it independently. You can wear two independently if you want. You can use it with any other tech out there. Our goal is to save lives. So when we were making this, we wanted to make it as universal as possible.
So with that little bit of, that rundown of the different applications, can you just, we've talked about this all the time here at the studio and just when we're BSing, but can you give us some examples of some different situations that wouldn't be, like your gunfight? We talked about
because
explosions.
We always want
like that.
We always want to go to like the sexy stuff, right? Like gunfights. But think about the less obvious scenarios. So I use like a patrol vehicle, for example. You're in a pursuit or you're running code somewhere, and you're trying to figure out what's going on at the call, you're listening to the radio, you get in a bad wreck or you hit a tree or pole or something and your legs get pinched. It takes a minute for a fire to get there. It takes a minute for your partners to get there. If your partner shows up and you're crunched up in a car and your legs are pinched, you're immobile, doors are stuck, things like that, that fire crew who's going to extract you, it might take 30 minutes, might take an hour. You have no idea. And so a lot of times that's kind of a death sentence, right? If you see that your legs are jacked, there's, you don't know what's going on with them, but they're broken. Yeah. You can't see any injuries beneath the dash because they're pinched. That's a very scary moment with the TAQ-STRAP on. And that's why I say anyone on patrol needs to be wearing both of them. I can reach down, even if I can't see, can't hear, I can reach down, they sit right on the top of your leg, and I can crank both of those down in about 5 seconds. And at least, even if I lose my legs, I know that I'm not bleeding out from my femorals anymore. And then after extraction and everything, you can transition your tourniquets, or you can leave these on, right? It's a true hasty tourniquet to get you to that next phase of care. IED explosions, right? I haven't been in one. I can imagine they probably rock you pretty good. And in that scenario, if you get hit, even if you have no idea what's going on, you're hurt, I would probably close my femorals off, right? So I would reach down, I would tighten those up. You can still, because our strap is so thick, I talked about that ribbon before, that thing hurts pretty bad when you put a cat tourniquet on correctly. They hurt. We have a thicker strap, and that grabs more tissue and it compresses, right? Because it's that tissue compressing that stops the blood flow. So with a thicker strap, we grab more of that tissue. You have less potential for your veins to get damaged, right? Because it doesn't have a singular point where it's cutting them off. It's that load is distributed a little further. And so what an unexpected surprise is that we're reaching occlusion faster because you're grabbing more tissue and it doesn't hurt as bad. We see a lot of comments like, oh, if that thing were occluding, he wouldn't be able to walk. Absolutely, dude. I can 100% occlude and still walk around with these TAQ-STRAPs on. And I challenge, again, don't take my word for it. I challenge people, get these, throw them on, try it out. You'll be surprised. I was surprised, and I invented the thing. It surprised me how mobile I still was, even when fully occluded.
Yeah. When you were, speaking of you being kind of the inventor, you being the inventor, were there a lot of times when you talk to somebody who has invented something, there were these fails where you're just I remember listening to a guy who, he was creating a supplement line. Well, I think it was I don't think it was a pre-workout, but it was something that had to do with caffeine or energy. And as he was mixing these raw elements on his kitchen table and testing it on himself, he found himself laid out in the floor. Were there any, you being passed out on the floor, but were there any times in the creation process where not necessarily something surprising, but this happened and you weren't ready for it, didn't even think about it?
Yeah. I'll say the biggest failure in bringing the TAQ-STRAP to market is there was a point where I pretty much gave up on it, where I had put a bunch of money into it. I kept getting denied by the patent office, and I was just it feels like I talked myself into that imposter syndrome, right? Can I really do this? And so I just let it sit for a year without going up for another review. Probably not a year, but a while. Too long to me. That to me was my failure point, was just losing faith a little bit. And then, of course, jumping back on the horse and getting to where we are now is amazing. As far as you bring any product to market, you better fail, right? I have a buddy who, I love it. He says fell forward, right? Yeah. Fell forward. That's what happened here. So I don't necessarily count them as failures, right? I tried with the BOA ratcheting system, right? Ran into issues there. I probably had 15 different prototypes going at one point. I had a win list on this at one point. I failed forward a lot. I learned a lot through each of those. But that's what gets us this product now. And how effective it is. So yeah, I think I don't regret those at all. The only thing I regret in my journey was momentarily losing faith.
So this seems like, and I know we can't talk too much to this, but this seems like it has so many more applications. I guess that last week it was realities. Realities was the word last week. This week it says application. But this could go across so many different applications.
Yeah.
Realities.
Yeah.
Contexts. What do you think the future of this bad boy is?
Yeah. So in my like dream world is like I said, I love our products. I designed this a big portion of this dynamic drop leg to be perfect for what our job is. A very minimalist in design. I don't give a shit if people don't run it with our tech. I want the product out there saving lives. So I want to see it installed in anyone else's drop legs. I want to see guys with their IFACs, with their gas mask bags, all rocking TAQ-STRAP. Because to me, that's when, outside of having a product that does well in the market, that to me is when we actually start seeing more and more saves with this product. That is for me, like that's the perfect scenario. I don't know. Was that the question?
Yeah, no, it makes. You can't say too much. The other side of this too is as a citizen who isn't a part of law enforcement, as somebody who it loves that my tax dollars goes to supporting the people who are protecting me.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see every police officer with this on.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, like we talk about a lot with Rapid Force, where like protect the community, protect the officer, to protect the department. In my mind, it's the same reality. Like if you guys can't get to me in my house when there's a gunfight at my house because you're having to stop to put this on, that's going to affect me also. So I'm pushing that even more so.
Think of like, we had one really good HR rescue, which is hostage rescue. That means someone's, this was a little kiddo being held in a house. And so we go, any SWAT team, right? Because I was listening to some other podcast. I think it was Sean Ryan's or something. But one of the guys was like, it's not Delta Force coming to save you in your home, right? It's your cops. Yeah, it's your SWAT. Sometimes it's the lowly patrolman, right? Who's just gonna do it, right? He's gonna go in and save that kiddo. So we train a lot for care under fire, meaning you're on approach to the house. It's an HR. We don't have an option. We're going in no matter if we take fire or not. If we're in a stack and I take fire, but I know we have to get in there to save someone, I don't want to pill you two guys off to treat me, right? And if I have these tack straps on, I can say, go, I'm fine, go. I'll treat myself and I'll, hopefully keep returning fire. Or if I have to bounce out, I will. Think about like someone breaching the door. If I breach the door and take fire, I still want my team advancing. Like I'll take care of me. I'll be able to throw my own on. You guys go, right? Save the kid. So that's a huge driver for me to get TAQ-STRAP out there. Is it increases our effectiveness as a team, as a stack. I think once that's recognized, right, and knowing again that we're not addressing the field care phase. We are in that moment when you have to breach that door, when you have to go in. Yeah. And it helps with the mindset too. If I'm holding the shield, that's a scary place to be, right? And rounds are coming through that door. I know my upper body's protected. I know my team's protected. Maybe my legs aren't. Most of the time they are not. And so to know that like this is my plan. If I take rounds standing in front of the door protecting my team, team's going to blow past me. I'm going to be able to treat myself, right? That just gives me confidence in standing there in that vulnerable position. It gives me confidence hopping doors and going to the next room. So I think mindset-wise is one of those unrecognized benefits of the TAQ-STRAP. Even if you never use it, you can save yourself, because it is stressful to think like, okay, if I take fire, what am I going to do? Like, what are the steps that I'm going to take? This gives me that peace of mind. I can save myself. The team can execute the mission.
It's crazy, and I know I'm going to sound crazy saying this, but this also makes me think of like having these in my house.
Yeah.
Like you think about like those earthquakes that just happened. you think about like you got your kids in your house. Like I would have one of these. I don't have kids, but I literally want to put one of these in every room in my house just because I know Tyler's paranoid. Tyler has the battle belt by his bed. Tyler has. We can get into that conversation. He's a little crazy. It's okay. Listen, I'm okay with being the crazy guy. This isn't crazy to me though. This is a fire extinguisher. This is a fire detector. What's that?
It's a seatbelt. It's back to that conversation.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? That's what we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about like why you carry a gun on you while you're hunting. Why not?
Yeah.
Why would you have this in your junk drawer in your kitchen? Why not?
So you think about applications, and I would argue that like if you're going to keep something in the junk drawer, keep a cat tourniquet, right? Keep a traditional tourniquet in there for proper placement. We're talking hasty, right? We're talking if you can't perform normal kind of triage, that's where this steps in. So to your point, if you are a hunter and there is a risk that you would fall down a ravine and compound fracture your leg, perfect application for a TAQ strap, right?
Wait, you mean to tell me, wait a minute, this is interesting though. So you mean to tell me, hold on, we finna do an example. You mean to tell me that if there's a hunter out there, I don't even know if you can hear me on the mic right now. You mean to tell me if there's a hunter out there, he got his vinyl harness right here, he got his possibles pouch. I fell down a ravine. I can't feel my leg. Bam, baby. Bam. Ready to go.
I feel like
that's not realistic. You're telling me this?
I feel like you just really wanted to talk vinyl pouches. They've been arguing for a vinyl holster.
I feel like this is why I'm beating Tyler up the hill because I'm not packing that much crap up.
Dude, listen, man, I got plans.
So think about like one of the markets we haven't exploited yet because, again, we're getting out to first responders, military first. But if you ride bikes, like motorcycle, right, and you take a
e-bikes,
do you know one of my least favorite videos on the internet right now? Just because I'm snowmobiling all the time and stuff. I'm not a big dirt biker, but one of my least favorite videos on Instagram right now is a guy running through the woods on his dirt bike, and he takes a stick in his leg.
Oh my God, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So go to NAR Rescue's Instagram page. They post the gnarliest. Yeah. I love it.
Their Instagram page is pretty much Twitter.
Oh, I love it.
Check us out on Twitter.
Yeah, check us out on Twitter.
X.
X. Yeah. The shadow band there too.
To me, like that is the perfect scenario to run to independence, right? Just keep it on your belt that you use when you ride. Yeah. Because I've seen people like sideswipe cars. There's another video out there. Guy sideswipes a car and he's missing his foot, right?
Oof. Oh, dude, when I was a kid,
that one.
Oh my God.
I witnessed something like that when I was a kid. A homie of mine, like when I was like in my neighborhood growing up, was like popping wheelies on his street bike, and he popped a wheelie, came down wrong. You know, if you're going like 30 on a street bike, you get those little. If you come down wrong, you get those little wobbles.
Speed wobble.
And he just like hit the ground and starts spinning, dude.
Oh my God.
Oh, so rough. Anyways,
but that's a perfect scenario, right? Like that's one we don't think of. It's not an IED blast, it's not a gunfight, but you just laid your bike down on the freeway and are missing, all of the skin off your leg, like. Throw that thing on. It's just while you're riding. When you're done riding, just keep it on a belt. And when you go to ride, clip it on. When you're hunting, just keep it on your belt. Yeah. Clip it on. There's a whole market for that is kind of like a secondary target for us that we're going to hit with this. Primarily, it's just getting it out to the military, law enforcement. Obviously, on our website, everyone, if these are concerns of yours, if you're doing high-risk activities and you're wearing a belt or can wear a belt, wear TAQ straps. Like it's just safe. It's just safer.
Now, Riley, is that too much gear for hunting?
Dude, now
you're gonna see Tyler with double TAQ straps in the woods. Come on.
Now you got me thinking I need them when I'm snowboarding.
Dude, when snowmobiling.
Walking.
When I'm walking. Yeah. You see a dude walking down the street looking like Blade with just two double TAQ straps.
Yeah, I mean it's a little Laura Croft-esque, but I think personally, if you're doing high risk sports, wear them. Why not? A hard landing, right? Free fall, jumping, that can compound fracture both your legs.
Keep them in your car.
Yeah. So I would say like as far as keeping stuff in your car,
Yeah.
keeping stuff accessible, that would be
Cat.
that would be cat. That would be a traditional tourniquet.
See, I think where I'm, and I'm a little slow. When I think about that, I'm thinking like it's in my car. I can't like something's going on.
Yeah.
And instead of the cat tourniquet, just being able to do boom.
Yep.
Look at the preposition for Tyler's leg.
Yeah.
Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
And going opposed to like in the moment car accident. I think that's the hasty part of it is what makes me want to keep it all around my house.
Yeah.
Because I think about like something happens to my house, the house is coming down, the ambulance isn't going to be there for who knows when.
Yeah.
Put that on real quick and then go and then.
Yeah. I mean, any kind of these are nice because they're already sized to your leg, right? And so you don't have to pull the slack out. You just throw it on. But again, to me, if you have time to clip it up, you probably have time to put it properly 2 to 3 inches above the wound, right?
Gotcha.
And so that's where we're really trying to fill the space is a true hasty tourniquet. Other tourniquets, CAT, Med Rev-X, they're great. They're amazing for when you have time to properly place a tourniquet. This is for when you don't have time, when you just laid your bike down and you still have your helmet on and your bike's 300 yards down the road that had your tourniquet, your traditional tourniquet in it, right? No, these are on your belt. They're there ready to go. If you fall down a ravine and lose your pack, right? Your tourniquet's on top, you're on bottom. That's when you want to throw these on. So think of it as a full-time wear tourniquet, a true hasty tourniquet. That's the space we're filling, right? And there's a lot, there's dozens of other tourniquets that act as traditional deliberate tourniquets. We are the only hasty tourniquet, truly designed to be a hasty tourniquet out there.
Randy Watts, thanks for coming on, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. I love it because like I like being able to talk specifically to the people who create the product. That's why I want to get some of the engineers on here. We got to bring on here is Clint.
Oh yeah,
Newbro down there.
That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Be awesome. Randy, thanks a bunch, man.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
I just looked away as if we were like in one of those shows. Ooh, and that just turned off. Look
Cue
at
the
that
music.
timing.
Oh, look at that.
Golly.